Chord progressions. A chord progression, also called a chord sequence, or a harmonic progression or sequence, is a series of chords played in a particular order. More simply, the order in which the chords are played in a tune. What is a chord change? It's just a movement from one chord to another. Usually successive chords in a chord progression share some notes. This will provide harmonic continuity within the progression. For example, when the chord changes from C to F, the 1 to 4 chord, both chords contain the note C. The most common chords in Western classical and pop music are based on the 1, 4 and 5 chords. Any melody built from the major scale system can be harmonised using just the 1, 4 and 4 chords. For example, C, F and G in the key of C, or G, C and D in the key of G. Why? Because collectively these three chords contain every note of the major scale. This is why hundreds of rock, blues, folk, country and popular songs consist of only the 1, 4 and 5 chords. If we introduce the 6th chord, a minor chord, into this mix, we can create a more powerful and emotional chord progression. Once again, many songs consist of these 4 chords. If we look at the 1, 4, 5 and 6 chords in common guitar keys of C and G, we have, in the key of C, we have C, F, G and A minor, which we've looked at previously. For example, a 6-4-1 progression in C would be A minor, F, C and G. In the key of G, we would have G, C, D and E minor. And a 6-4-1-5 progression in G would be E minor, C, G and D. We've already seen the C, E minor and G chords in a previous video. To play the open D chord, place your first finger at the 2nd fret, 3rd string, your 3rd finger on the 3rd fret, 2nd string, and your 2nd finger on the 2nd fret, 1st string. Play strings 4th to 5th first. All the chords that we've just spoken about are called open chords because they contain open or unfretted strings, or sometimes they're called cowboy chords as they are ones you might play around a campfire. They're chords you commonly see in simpler songbooks and are the most suitable for beginning guitarists. You'll sometimes see, for example, a G7 instead of a G and a D7 instead of a D. These so-called dominant 7th chords resolve strongly to the 1 chord. We've already seen G7. To play D7, place your first finger at the 2nd fret, 3rd string, your 2nd finger at the 1st fret, 2nd string, and your 3rd finger at the 2nd fret, 1st string. Play strings 4th to 1st. If you wanted to play songs in other keys but still use these easier open chords, there is a way of doing it. Using a capo. A capo is a very useful tool that enables you to use the same chord shapes to play songs in different keys. You can move a song you're playing into a key that better suits you or another singer's vocal range. The capo clamps down across the fretboard, shortening the effective length of all the strings at the same time, and can make difficult guitar chords much simpler to play. It can help you to play some songs which you may find tricky using the chords in the original key, but which you could play using basic open chord shapes. The capo should be clamped just behind the frets just as you would do with your fingers, so there's no buzzing when you play. Let's take an example. Placing the capo at the 2nd frets, which we have here, all notes have effectively moved up a whole tone. So for instance, playing a G chord shape with the capo on now gives you an A chord. So now if you finger the open chord shapes for C, F, G and A minor here, you would actually be playing D, G, A and B minor. And if you finger the open chord shapes for G, C, D and E minor, you would actually be playing A, D, E and F sharp minor. Now moving the capo to the 4th frets. Now if you finger the open chord shapes for C, F, G and A minor, you would be playing E, A, B and C sharp minor. And if you finger the open chord shapes for G, C, D and E minor, you would actually be playing B, E, F sharp and G sharp minor. So, using your knowledge of the notes on the fretboard, you can use a capo to change quite a few different useful keys while still using the open chord shapes. In the next video, we'll look at the topic of strumming and strumming patterns.